We all agreed. "You're not welcome at Christmas," my parents said. And if you think I begged or broke down after that, then you don't know how long I've been quietly holding it all in. This is my story. I refreshed my inbox out of habit, not hope. No emails, no "who's bringing the deviled eggs," just quiet. The screen cast a pale glow across my lap as I sat curled on the corner of the couch, knees tucked under an old throw blanket. My fingers hovered above the trackpad. One more refresh. Still nothing. It was December 5th. Every year by now, there'd be a flurry of messages. Flight arrivals, dish assignments, that god-awful spreadsheet Brittany clung to like scripture, ranking who brought the most useful food. Carrot casserole got you a gold star. Store-bought cookies? A snide footnote. Last year I'd arrived late, arms heavy with still warm snickerdoodles and boxes wrapped in navy paper. I'd barely set them down before someone muttered, "Look who finally showed up." The words hung in the air long enough for the table to laugh. I didn't catch who said it. Didn't need to. The punchline wasn't for me. It was about me. Back then, I told myself they were just stressed. That the tension in the room wasn't personal, just holiday nerves. I still made excuses. That version of me? She would have refreshed the inbox again. Waited for someone to remember her? I closed the browser tab. The apartment was still. No decorations yet. I hadn't unpacked the tiny ceramic tree I usually put on the counter, the one Mom said looked too sad to be festive when I first bought it. It made me smile now. How small it had seemed. How silly I'd been for caring. I opened the family Google Drive instead. We always kept everything there. Gift ideas, playlists, group photos from past years, even the Ellis family annual potluck planning sheet that got its own tab. The folder was gone. Not renamed. Not archived. Gone. I stared at the empty screen, the blinking cursor on the search bar. Then I tried an old direct link from a Thanksgiving email. Access denied. I didn't panic. I didn't text the group. I didn't even sit up straighter. I just clicked once more, as if sheer willpower might change the outcome. Still nothing. Eventually, I picked up my phone and typed a short message. "Rachel, did you guys move the Christmas folder?" I sent it to Brittany directly. The read receipt didn't light up. Not for another 40 minutes. No response. Instead, I got a separate text from Mom. "Figured you were busy this year. Don't worry about Christmas." "No, how are you?" "No, missed you last year." Just a single sentence that sounded like it had been run through a machine. Sterile, vague, perfectly polite. It wasn't the absence of planning that cut. It was the language. "Don't worry about Christmas." As if I were the one shirking an obligation, like I'd already opted out. I didn't reply. Instead, I pushed my laptop off my knees and stood up, walking to the kitchen like muscle memory would rescue me from the growing static in my chest. The hum of the fridge filled the quiet. I reached for a mug I didn't need, filled it halfway with water, then poured it down the drain. That's when I did something I hadn't in weeks. I opened my budgeting spreadsheet. The tab was still labeled monthly, recurring plus goals. Row 12, Crane June property mortgage, $1,368.20. Status, auto-paid. I stared at it for a long time. That number had been there every month for 3 years. Quiet, predictable, paid. They lived in that house, cooked in that kitchen, celebrated birthdays in the sunroom I'd helped repaint after the water damage last spring, and not a single one of them thought I might want to sit at the table again this year. I scrolled down a little further. Utilities, Asheville, gas, electric, internet, all under my name, all still active. I hadn't even thought about it, hadn't paused to question why it was still my responsibility. When Mom stopped working 2 years ago, she'd said, "Just until I can balance out my benefits. Give me some breathing room." I'd agreed. I always agreed. Now, I wondered why. The weight of the silence settled again. this time deeper, heavier. Not a single call, no voicemail, no accidental, see you soon. I set my hands on the countertop and looked out the tiny window above the sink. Someone downstairs was putting up lights, white and gold, the kind Mom used to like. A year ago, I might have cried. Not anymore. Tears didn't come when things were predictable. And this, it seemed, had been predictable all along. I wasn't invited because I wasn't included. Not this year. Not last year. Maybe not ever. I walked back to the living room, the cold from the tile floor still clinging to my soles. I sat down, reopened the spreadsheet, and stared at the same row again. Crane June property mortgage, $1,368.20. That number didn't look neutral anymore. It looked like proof. I didn't delete anything. I didn't cancel the payment. Not yet. But something inside shifted. Not like a crack or a snap, but like glass under pressure, flexing just enough to sound its own warning. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel grief. What I felt was math and clarity. I looked across the room at the blank space where I used to hang the wreath. Then I whispered to no one, "Why am I funding a holiday I'm not invited to?" I wasn't just uninvited. I was removed like a file from the desktop. Clean, fast, no confirmation prompt. My living room was dark, save for the bluish haze of the laptop screen. December had settled heavy over Raleigh. Cold air crawling under windowsills, streetlights casting long, tired shadows. I sat with a cup of tea gone lukewarm and stared at the folder marked mortgage and legal on my desktop. It's just until I'm back on my feet. Mom had said that day 3 years ago, her voice light as ever, flipping through coupons at the grocery store. "We'll add your name later." Later never came. I hadn't asked again. I opened the PDF labeled Loan Agreement, Co-Borrower Addendum. My name was there, lower left corner, next to the phrase Financial Responsibility Only, and farther up on the deed itself. Owner Patricia Ellis. No and Rachel Ellis. No joint title. Just hers. I let out a slow breath. No surprise. But that didn't dull the sting. They'd called it the family home. Said it like it belonged to all of us. But on paper, I was just the wallet. I clicked over to Facebook. Curious, then careful. The Ellis family holiday album was already live. Brittany had posted a reel of her kids frosting cookies on the kitchen island I'd paid to refinish last summer. I scrolled down, jaw tightening. A new photo. Group shot. Captioned, "So grateful to everyone who helped make this house a home. Couldn't have done it without you all." At the bottom, Ellis Strong, G, family first. In the photo, Travis was holding up a mug that read, "Host with the most." Brittany leaned over the new garland across the mantel, something she probably ordered on my Prime account and forgot to reimburse. I zoomed in. There was the backsplash I chose. The dimmer lights I had installed when Mom said the old ones gave her headaches. The custom chairs, picked out one rainy Saturday after Patricia texted, "My back is killing me with these stiff things." I looked again. Not a single tag included me. Then I opened the holiday group photo from 3 years ago, the one where I stood behind Mom, arms resting gently on her shoulders. That same photo was now cropped in her public post. I wasn't in it. I checked the version saved on my own drive. Still intact. Me, smiling stiffly, holding a dish I'd stayed up all night baking. Online, I was gone. No tag, no trace. I sat back, letting the cursor blink on the screen. A low buzzing started behind my ribs. Not rage, something cleaner, sharper. I opened my spreadsheet. Crane June property, renovation expenses, roof patch, $850. Sunroom windows, $1,730. Kitchen lighting upgrade, $462.33. Custom bar stools, $399. Every item linked to a receipt, every item paid from my account. No reimbursement, no shared costs. I scrolled to the final tab. Monthly mortgage totals, 36 entries, identical amounts, my name on every transfer. There was no confusion. There was a pattern. I opened a blank folder on my desktop and renamed it Exit Plan. Inside, I began dragging files: mortgage PDFs, utility bills, property tax receipts, photos, before and after the remodel, emails confirming service calls. Then I opened one more tab: the IRS tax portal. Quick search. Did Patricia ever file me as a contributor? A dependent? Nothing. I sat still for a long moment, back straight, hands resting flat on the desk. My phone buzzed once, face down on the couch. Then again. I reached for it slowly, half expecting another group post I wasn't tagged in. But it was a direct message from Lindsey. I need to show you something. I recorded it. You deserve to hear what they said. She's not really family, Mom's voice said through Lindsey's recording. Then laughter. Then silence. The rain tapped against the kitchen window, steady and indifferent, as I stared at the file Lindsey had sent. I'd played it twice. No pauses, no rewinds. Just once through. Then again. The first time, it was like watching a cup tip in slow motion. The second time, it shattered. She's convenient, Mom had said, her tone too casual to be cruel, but somehow that made it worse. Not committed. Then Travis, as slippery as ever. Keep her on the loan. It's clean. No need to rock the boat. They didn't argue. No one said, "That's too far." They just laughed, like it was all logistics, like I was just a number on a spreadsheet. I sat back and clicked over to my banking dashboard. My fingers didn't shake. I wasn't even angry. I was clean. Cold maybe, but clear. I opened the mortgage portal. The monthly payment for the Crane June property was scheduled for December 20th, like clockwork. I clicked Edit Auto Pay Settings, set it to manual, clicked Save, then moved on. One by one, I logged into the utility accounts. Gas, Asheville, cancel service. December 24th, 6 p.m. Electric, same. Internet, canceled. Each screen ended with a confirmation number. Each confirmation went into a newly created subfolder titled Service Terminations. I emailed each one to myself, then forwarded copies to a second inbox I rarely used, one they didn't know existed. I opened my budgeting spreadsheet and added 3 new entries under December. Termination, electric, December 24th. Termination, gas, December 24th. Termination, internet, December 24th. Then I created a fresh tab, labeled it Financial Statement, 2019 to present. I listed it all. Down payment contribution, monthly mortgage transfers, repairs, upgrades, reimbursements never received. Each line had a dollar value, each cell a date. I wasn't building a case for sympathy. I was documenting reality. I didn't cry. I didn't pace. I didn't draft an angry message or subtweet their names. Instead, I poured myself a glass of water and watched the steam drift from the sink. The hum of the refrigerator filled the room like a sound I'd only just started noticing. This wasn't revenge. It was accounting. I returned to the mortgage tab and took one more look. The system asked, "Are you sure you want to disable autopayment?" I clicked, yes, then closed the window. The next step would come later. Transfer of responsibility, title surrender, formal closure. But this was mine. Somewhere in the background, my phone buzzed. I walked into the living room and picked it up, still half expecting some accidental apology, some "didn't mean it like that" from someone too late to matter. But no. It was Brittany. A new post, a group selfie in front of the fireplace. 12 faces, matching sweaters, matching mugs. The caption read, "Ellis Family Christmas 2023, whole and happy." I didn't like it. I didn't comment. I didn't even zoom in. I just hit save. Quietly. The lights went out at 6:14 p.m. I was eating soup. They were mid-toast. The broth was still steaming in my bowl, chicken and wild rice the way I liked it, lightly salted, extra thyme. I'd lit a candle on the kitchen counter, not for ambiance, but for routine. One small flame in an apartment where the silence had stopped hurting. My phone buzzed on the table, screen lighting up in the dim room. Family group, 12. I hadn't been part of that thread in weeks. Someone must have added me back by accident. The message, Travis. Duke Energy? Power's out. Mom is screaming. Everything's black. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then set the phone face down. 3 days ago, I ended every payment. I didn't warn them. Just like they didn't warn me when they voted me out. I stood and walked calmly to the couch, pulled my laptop onto my knees, and opened my email. In the search bar, I typed, Crane June cancellation confirmation. There it was, dated December 20th, 2:41 p.m. Service termination confirmed. Electric and gas to be shut off at 6 p.m. on December 24th. A minute late, but close enough. I sipped my soup. Across town, I imagined the scene. Patricia standing in the kitchen she claimed as hers, blinking at the oven that had just died mid-roast. Brittany waving her phone in the air for signal. Travis pulling out a flashlight, pretending he wasn't panicking. Candles being lit with trembling hands. Not for ambiance, for function. And somewhere in that crowd, Lindsey, watching, saying nothing. My phone buzzed again. Guest post from Brittany. Tagged me by mistake. Thank you, erasure, for the gorgeous wine glasses. I hadn't sent anything. They'd found a gift from last year, repurposed it, reattributed it. I didn't correct them. I opened Facebook in a new tab. Photos were already trickling in. Flashlit, grainy, smiles stretched a little too wide. One caption read, Making it work, even without power. Resilient Ellis Christmas. I imagined Patricia calling customer service, trying to sound composed. Her voice saccharine but cracking. There must be a mistake. Our house is suddenly dark. And the reply, cool and scripted. Sorry, ma'am, you're not listed as the primary or secondary account holder. We can't access this property's data. I leaned back on the couch and pulled the blanket over my lap. The candle flickered on the counter behind me. My apartment was warm. I pictured them opening drawers for half-used birthday candles, lighting the emergency flashlight they hadn't touched since 2016. Trying to pass off the outage as part of the plan. As if they'd meant for the lights to go out. There was no satisfaction in it, no joy, but it was done. The house was dark, and this time I wasn't the one left in the cold. My laptop chimed softly. New email, subject line, Host credit confirmation, the Asheville Holiday Charity Gala. The body loaded slowly. Confirmed listing, Patricia Ellis. Primary donor and host, December 24th. I stared at it. I didn't send rage. I sent documents. The coffee maker gurgled in the background, a rhythmic hum filling the stillness of Christmas morning. The apartment smelled faintly of cinnamon and clarity. Outside, the street was quiet. No carolers, no mail, just the sharp hiss of winter wind brushing past the windows. I sat at my desk, bathed in soft light from the window, and stared at the blinking cursor on the blank email draft. Brittany once said I made everything tense. She should see how calm I am now. I reached for the folder on my desktop, Exit Plan. I opened it with one slow, deliberate click. Inside, a clean record of the last 4 years. Mortgage statements from day 1. Utility bills labeled by month with confirmation of payment. Renovation receipts, from the custom cabinets to the insulation work in the attic. Screenshots, family posts cropping me out, captions rewriting history. The audio Lindsey had sent, labeled familyvote.mp3. I created 3 new emails, no attachments yet. Just subject lines, pasted in identical font. Correction to property ownership, December event. Recipient 1, local journalist I'd met at a fundraiser in 2021. Recipient 2. Charity board contact listed in the gala's newsletter. Recipient 3. The mortgage servicing branch of the bank, where Travis still listed himself as liaison. I attached the documents, not all at once, but carefully, section by section, curated for impact. For the charity board, utility bills, renovation receipts, proof of payment on all property taxes for the past 3 years. Screenshot of Patricia posing beside the donated holiday food in the kitchen I paid to remodel. For the journalist, comparison photos of the house, before and after the changes, deed registration, Patricia as sole owner, me as financial guarantor. The audio file clipped to just 1 minute. She's convenient, not committed, followed by laughter for the bank. Full payment record, co-borrower status, cancellation confirmation, transfer of financial responsibility request, effective January 2nd. I didn't write lengthy intros. No emotional appeals, just a single line. For your review, please update public records accordingly. Then I clicked send 3 times. Afterward, I stood, stretched, and walked to the kitchen. Cracked 2 eggs into a pan, toasted sourdough, sprinkled a little chili oil over the top. Breakfast, not victory. The afternoon passed slowly. I avoided my phone, read half a novel, took a walk around the block. Snow hadn't come, but the sky was heavy, like it might break. It wasn't until 3:17 p.m. that I opened my laptop again. The charity's homepage had changed. Correction. The December 24th holiday gala was hosted by community supporters. The property owner listed in our original post has been amended to reflect accurate contributions. No name, no blame. But Patricia was gone from the credits. I closed the tab. My phone buzzed. Once. Travis. What did you do? I typed back without hesitation. I told the truth. You just never thought I would. No one expected me to walk away. They assumed I'd always pay, always forgive, always stay silent. The bank lobby was warmer than it needed to be. Fluorescent lights buzzed gently above, casting everything in a soft beige that made the new year feel old already. I held the manila folder in one hand, my ID in the other, and waited as the teller skimmed the form for the second time. Everything looks in order, she said, tapping the corner of the notarized release form. Her tone was practiced, pleasantly indifferent. So once I file this, your name will be formally removed from the mortgage agreement. I nodded. No ceremony, no applause, just a dotted line and a simple detachment. She paused for a moment, scanning her screen. Are you sure you don't want to schedule a meeting to go over next steps for your credit involvement? I'm not involved anymore, I said, my voice steady. That's the point. I signed where she pointed, slid the folder across the desk, and stood. Outside, the air was brisk and clean, the kind of cold that wakes something honest in your lungs. I walked slowly back to the car, then didn't get in. Just stood there, breathing it in. The weight was gone. The rope untied. And for the first time in years, I wasn't tethered to someone else's performance of family. I drove home with the window cracked. Let the wind sting a little. Later that afternoon, a knock came on my apartment door. Norma Fisk stood there, wrapped in her usual oversized cardigan, holding a tin of oatmeal cookies wrapped with a green ribbon. I figured you might like some fresh ones, she said, her voice warm and dry. And I wanted to say good on you. You always had the spine they hated. We sat on her porch swing, sipping sweet tea and mismatched mugs. Across the street, the house I'd paid for looked smaller somehow, like it had finally adjusted to its new weight. Your mother's been real quiet lately, Norma added after a while. Guess she didn't think you'd follow through. I smiled but didn't reply. The silence between us felt like understanding, not absence. When I got home, a single envelope sat tucked into my mailbox. Cream-colored, blue ink, Patricia's handwriting, flawless cursive like she was still trying to win the neatest penmanship award from 1983. Inside was a plain card. No glitter, no message about love or regret, Just 5 words. Hope you'll come home next year. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just hope. Stretched thin and unearned. I stood in my kitchen, card in one hand, and opened the drawer beside the sink. Slid it inside. Not the trash. Just away. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting. It was choosing not to return. I pulled up my legal profile online and edited the emergency contact line. Deleted Patricia. Added Lindsey. That night, Lindsey came over for coffee. We didn't talk about the house. Just drank quietly, feet curled beneath us on the couch, the city humming low outside the windows. As she stood to leave, coat half-zipped, she turned and asked, "What if they invite you next year?" I looked at her, the smallest smile curling at the corner of my mouth. They should worry more about who'll keep the lights on. The house she once funded stood dim and quiet, no longer her burden to carry. Rachel didn't storm out, didn't scream, but every document, every silence, every step away was a verdict they never saw coming. Justice doesn't always wear a robe or bang a gavel. Sometimes it walks out the front door and takes the power with it. No lie lasts forever, not when truth keeps the receipts. Perhaps standing up today means you'll never again have to bow to injustice tomorrow. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment 1 below if you've ever chosen peace over being used.